Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Trekking Across. Actually, it might as well be arcing across the universe, but it doesn't matter. Welcome, one and all. Today is August 30th, 2024. It is 12 noon on the West Coast. We'll go over our time. Everyone in the chat room, please put a post. Let us know who you are, where you hail from. Please like, subscribe, and follow, and like us on Facebook, and we will announce it. You know, we go over the questions in the chat room. You know who I am. I want to get to my co-host right here, Michael. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great today, Roger.
Excellent. I'm glad. And he's on the East Coast, Washington, D.C. Marcia, how you doing way over there?
Hello. Yes, I'm in sunny Florida, and I am terrific.
Oh, even better. And also another co-host with us, Jag. How are you doing, Jag?
I am great. I'm in the great state of Texas, and I'm arksome. That's an awesome.
Wow.
That's a good one.
So we've got them going right now. So, folks, don't forget, we already have some comments going, but let's go straight to the intro. You know why we're here. Let's get to it. Jag, the honors, please.
I don't know how long it's been. I've been wanting to have her on this show forever. And I am so glad that we finally have Shalini here, Dr. Kabir from the ARC. Thank you so much for dropping by.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
We are
As a matter
excited.
of fact, I'm going to get to the highs real quick. Rick Kitchen, obviously, hi. He does it. And they're already talking to each other. Really loving this show. Thank you, Rick. It means a great deal to us. And they're talking to each other in the chat room. Elizabeth Bowman says, greetings, Arklings, and thank you so much for being here. And Rick is from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Wow.
That is excellent. Art 54, I believe, is from Sacramento, California. And Elizabeth, why don't you remind us where you're from? But let's get it going. Oh, here we go. Can. I don't know. We do. If I don't know, I know. Come on, Rick. Just messing around.
Yes.
Oh, Sarah. Hi, fellow DMVer from Maryland. Hi, Sarah. How you doing?
Hey,
How
Sarah.
you doing, Sarah?
Well, let's get to it, Jag. All kidding aside, we're here for our guest.
Well, number one, I want everybody to see that she's wearing her
Oh, yes.
ARC 1 shirt. Could you go ahead and tell us how you got that? It's amazing.
So, yeah, this was a wrap gift when we wrapped season 1. All cast and crew got an ARC 1 shirt. And then I also have a head of costume, Ivana. She gave me, I don't know if you remember, it was like I had this kind of like tight white tee, which she had like Dr. Kabir stitched. So I've got some kind of ARC merch, which I kind of rock every now and then.
There you go. There you go. So I guess we don't know. We know you from the show, and I think everybody loves you. So I guess, how did you come about becoming Dr. Kabir on the ARC? Could you explain the audition and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah! Wow, that feels
Last
like
week.
another. Yeah,
If you can remember.
if I can remember way back when. So it was a self tape. So I did a self tape for it, and I remember kind of like getting that feeling where I was like, oh man, I really, really want this one. Had a lot of fun doing the self tape, and then didn't hear for a while. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. So I kind of put that to the back of my mind and just assumed it hadn't gone my way. And then, you know, my agent called and was like, oh, they actually, I was like, remember that Syfy show you taped for? They actually like your tape and they want to meet with you. So I had my recall audition over Zoom on this very couch in this very living room. I was on the other side of the couch. And it was similar kind of time because Dean and Jonathan were in LA, and we had the casting director, the amazing Laura Windows. And I just remember I actually thought I had blown it because I had like all the lights on, ring light on. I was sweating, like my pits were just like two rivers flowing. And sorry, is that too much? And they said, be prepared for it to take up to half an hour. And it only took 10 minutes. And yeah, and I had prepped 3 scenes and we did just 2 of them. So I was like, I've really, really screwed this up, and this has just not gone well. Right. And then I got the call quite quickly after that, that it had. And then I remember saying to Dean, I actually thought I had really screwed up the audition because it was so quick, and we didn't do all the scenes. And he was like, no, he's like, we knew, so we didn't need to. It was like we had our Kabir, so we didn't need to see any more. We knew, and that was really lovely.
Oh, that's amazing! And like I said, we love your character. I love your character. Oh man, I could go for hours. How many hours do we have today? Because we're gonna go
1.
One. Oh, okay. I better make it quick. So anyway, I'm gonna pass it back to my co-hosts and see if they will have additional questions for you. But thank you.
I'd like to pass it on over to Michael.
Yeah, I was going to ask something very similar, but let's move ahead a little bit. What was it like? Because I've asked a couple of the other cast, if you can remember. I know this is way back again in the past, but since we couldn't get you for season 1, and I tried to get you for season 1, so these are my season 1 questions. I like to ask people.
Oh, sure.
What was your first impression when you walked on that set and on the bridge, and with you getting into your medical facilities? What did you think? What did you feel? Did you yell? Did you scream? Did you go, oh, this is what it is? Or something?
No, I remember saying words that I don't think I can repeat live.
Okay.
But
that says it all right there.
That says it all. But I remember Dean and Igor, who's our incredible DOP, kind of took me on a tour around set, and I remember I felt like a kid. It was just kind of like you took me to Neverland. It was incredible. And there's always something very magical, I find, the first time you get into costume. For me, it's a huge part of how I get into character, because everything, just from the shoes to the hair to it kind of dictates how you move, and it was a big part of me finding her as well. So it was very emotional. Actually, I always find it emotional, like the very beginning and the very end, because you're kind of like the ship set sail, and it was also first time in Serbia. It was my first time shooting on location, and all of a sudden we were all kind of like here together for 4.5 months, and you're not quite sure at the beginning like what this thing is. So yeah, but it was just it was magical.
Yeah, one more question, and you do not have to answer this if you don't want to, but who was the first person on cast that you kind of made friends with quickly?
Made friends with quickly.
First person. Or was it a bunch of them?
I think the first cast, because I was the first cast member to arrive. I was super eager. I was like, yeah, I'll come like a couple of days early, because we had the welcome party, and the first cast member I met was Reese, and he was actually my next door neighbor, because we were all kind of at that time staying at the same hotel, and he because obviously he's done this before, and he knows Serbia very well, and the crew and production from Outpost. So he was really instrumental in kind of, he created this WhatsApp group and kind of started reaching out to everybody, adding everyone onto the group. And so we started kind of the conversation of like, who are you playing? And so he was and then he came and knocked on my door. And so he was the first cast member I met. And we didn't know who Garnett was for a couple of days still. So that was the big kind of, but I mean, all of that, I think that's one thing that is really rare on this job that we do, is kind of people are constantly coming in and out of your life on jobs. And I've never had like a deeply unpleasant experience, but it's not every day you get somewhere people truly come together as a family. That's not an everyday experience on a job, but this was that. So that kind of chemistry that you pick up on between all of us is very, very real. Like, I adore all of them.
Cool.
As a matter of fact, I want to give a shout out to Elizabeth Bowman and Elizabeth Olivia Cooper, who has given us likes on Facebook. Thank you. And I believe Rick finally got his question in there. And he says, can't wait for the Doctor's romance. So I know we're through episode 7, and I know that Michael did post it on the crawl at the bottom. Don't forget, we're only going to ask what has been shown on air. If we have any questions, no spoilers, nothing like that. Susie is here as well. Thank you for joining us. And I believe this may be one of the first questions. How do you like working with, and oh boy, the Latin in me is going to butcher it.
Yadran.
Yadran. Yeah.
Close enough, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, he's so lovely. I never met him season 1. So I had no idea who Yadran was. We saw the beginnings of Dr. Marsh in season 1, but I never met him. And then I remember welcome drinks for season 2. Dean was like, oh, so there might be a little bit of a romance for Dr. Kabir. And I was like, say what? I was like, who? I was just like, where
was that? I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like literally going through the cat. And and then he introduced me to Yadran, and he's just the loveliest. He's the loveliest guy. And he was just kind of like very very cheeky. There's just like natural banter between us, but then also, again, not wanting to give too much away, but then he was also just like a very kind of supportive partner through that storyline. So we've already kind of seen this kind of like push and pull, where this kind of the beginnings of this dance that they do, which requires trust between the two actors. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And I had an incredible level of trust in him. So he's lovely. He's a lovely, lovely person.
Excellent. We'll get to some other questions in the chat room. I want to bring on Marsha right now from the great state of Florida. You're on, Marsha?
Yeah, but I really claim New York City, so
love New York.
But yeah, I'm so excited to see you here. So now that you've really gotten into Dr. Kabir, and we really, how would you describe her to someone who didn't know who she was? How would you describe your character?
Excellent question.
That's a good question. I would say she's a quiet leader. She's not the loudest person in the room. She's probably not the most assertive person in the room, but I think she's a person. I think she's a natural healer. I think she's a natural caretaker. I think that's just part of who she is. And then her profession is an extension of that. I think she's stronger than she realizes. I think she's funny and sassy and a great friend. And I think she, obviously has kind of like, gone straight from kind of like A to J and missed kind of like some vital steps in between. So she's kind of like, you see a lot of her struggles in real time. And it's also been, you know, there's what's been really exciting about season 2 is we're kind of discovering more and more about who these characters were, what they've come through, what they come with, and we see more of that with her this season, which was a huge surprise for me as well, and it was a responsibility I took very seriously as well in doing that justice. But yeah, she's somebody I would want to be friends with. You'd want to have her in your corner, you know.
Yeah, because she really didn't expect to have to be in charge of Med Bay.
No.
So, and one of the scenes I really liked in the second season is when she was lying in Med Bay and needed a shot and needed to direct Kelly. Yeah. And when you go and you tell her, well, no, not for him, for me. Your strength really came through there, and really put your life in jeopardy in order to save others, and that I think was a really a big step in her character development for me anyway. And and to go back a little bit, when did you find out that there was going to be a season 2? Do you remember what that was like?
Oh yeah, good question. I think that would have been early last year. There were kind of like, I remember when we wrapped, there was this kind of, everyone was generally quite positive that there would be a season 2, but also you just never know. And then, so we were all kind of like, did you hear? I heard, you know, and then I think it was kind of early last year, and then it moved quite quickly. And so we're all kind of in the same situation now. So friends for us.
Super exciting. Okay, I'll hand it back to Roger. Thank you.
We have 2 comments, and I do have 2 questions. One is probably just comment, but anyway, Arc54 says, "Oh, and please, I need a roll call for all the fan groups in the chat room, please, so we can play them on air. We love to hear it from the administrators." Yeah, I know we have one on with us right now, but still would love to have it in the chat room. How much? Yes, it's obvious how much I wanted you to be on here. We still need to hook up on getting the book. And can you tell everyone about your wonderful children's book? Love ya, says Arc54.
Is this Liz Cooper?
Yes.
We cannot admit that it's Liz Cooper, but Liz, yes. No, of course.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
You're fine. You're fine.
No, it's all good.
Hi, sweetheart. So she's been very sweet and supportive about this. So during COVID, remember that thing that we've all blocked out of
yes. Yes.
So obviously kind of for actors, everything kind of completely shut down. And I had the idea of writing this children's book. So I don't know so I'm from Sri Lanka, and I love my country very much and wanted to, I wanted to write a story, and it wasn't, the idea was not for profit, but obviously, kind of seeing my people go through so much hardship, and as a country, what we've been through is quite relentless.
Yes.
And at a time where, you had where kind of like a book might be a luxury for many families, buying a book for their child. I just wanted to write, it's a simple story about a girl who goes on an adventure and kind of learns just how much little kids are capable of. I think sometimes kids think that, I have to wait until like, until I'm big, until I'm like a grown up, to really kind of like make my mark in the world. But actually, you know, there's a lot little kids can do. That's actually the name of the book. And then as she kind of meets, she meets different animals along the way who teach her a different lesson. And they're all very significant animals to Sri Lanka. So they kind of share their experiences and their struggles. So it's also kind of like take care of each other, and take care of this planet, take care of this part of the world that we call home. And also remember that it's not just us, we're sharing it with our animal friends too. So just, yeah. But it was just, and then I kind of distributed it to, so it was printed in all 3 languages, and then I distributed it to schools and children's homes and libraries for free. Because I don't know if anyone would have bought it, but it was just like a passion project.
Wow, yeah. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I want to give a shout out to Susie Bonebreak, who gave us a like as well. And she fires off a question. You don't have an accent. Where do you live? Knowing that you have the hat trick when it comes to citizenship, but we'll talk about that in a moment.
That's so funny. So it's interesting because people, it's always like, where are you from? So I'm from Sri Lanka. I currently live in London, UK. The accent is like an international school accent. So I have kind of born in Sri Lanka, then moved to the north of England and had a very strong northern accent. Then we moved to Hong Kong, and that's like the international school accent that you hear now. And then I've been in London for a very long time, but I'm holding on to this accent. So here, most people think I sound American. And then when I'm in the States, people are like, you're not from my state, but you're from somewhere else.
Very cool. I was going to ask how you came up with that trifecta, and you so eloquently in one sentence answered it, which was great. And to sound off, we have the ARC fan group, which Michael also put in the crawler, and we have the ARC series fan group. Now, I believe we still have one more out there, and if you can get that to me in the chat room, that would be awesome. A comment. This was early in the year. It was so funny. I laughed out loud when you delivered the line, and I'm sorry. I'm going to be the one that gets that difficult. In one of the episodes, you're talking about Kelly and the stuff that she has, specifically her blood. And I believe it was you that delivered the line. When may I have some of that Kelly, the sweet
Kelly blood?
Yes. Was that your line? Was it already scripted? Or what was it? Because it was funny. It was really good. It was actually a little out of character, I thought.
No, so it was scripted. It wasn't me ad-libbing. I do tend to kind of ad-lib a lot. Sometimes they keep it in, sometimes they don't. But no, that was scripted. And I remember kind of being like, sweet Kelly blood. I was like, how do I say this? But no, it was I think there's she's kind of, what's nice is you kind of see her letting go more. And so, I think there's just like more of a freedom with how she talks, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I was going to ask another question related to now the character as you play it. Again, I'm sorry for being difficult. Now, I know that Dr. Kabiri is confident, but are you playing the character as there's tension with your fellow, doctors? Are you playing? Because I don't see that. But is there tension between? I'm not talking about the romantic. I'm talking professional. You're like, hey, buddy, this is my ship,
Yes.
and I need you to know that.
I'm the captain now. Yeah.
There you go.
No, I think definitely at the beginning there's if you take the kind of like romantic storyline aside, I think for her all of a sudden there's a kind of like a butting of heads between two strong personalities, but also Dr. Marsh is way senior to her, kind of professionally speaking.
Right.
But so there should be this natural kind of like deference and respect, but she's like, but this has been my baby for so long, and now you're you're on my turf, and I think at the beginning as well, because she's out of action for so long, and I think it's deeply threatening to her, because you know, with season 1 we saw with her battling her addiction, where she kind of had to, and I think she's somebody who deeply kind of struggles with not being at 100% at all times. So now all of a sudden we start season 2 with her again in a very vulnerable state, and then having to quite literally sit back and watch someone else take over. I think for her is kind of like, wait, so am I replaceable? You know?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, it was well done. I wasn't certain. I was watching for that. That's why I had the question. We appreciate you on the program. And I want to remind everyone, we're about halfway through. So get your questions in. I want to welcome NX Tertia. Thank you. Says, it's time for some Dr. Love. And then Susie, yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Also, the Outpost and the ARC fan group. I believe that's another one there. Yeah. So I'm going to get to one more before I go back to Jag. I know people are shipping the doctors, but I love Strickland and Kabir's friendship. That was a highlight in season 1 and season 2. But anyway, especially how he helped her with her addiction in season 1. And now with her recovery from the divorce and abuse.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I really 100% agree. That has been one of my favorite kind of storylines. And it's not a storyline that you see necessarily very often, but it's been one of my personal, and also I love Pavle so much. He's like a brother to me. So it's a very similar dynamic between us as people. He's kind of somebody that I have a huge amount of trust in, and kind of he's got like such a soft center, but he's kind of like Mr. You know, like but yeah, he's an absolute sweetheart. But yeah, like even just I remember I was so self-conscious because he has to carry me, and and I was so like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna break this man, and you know, he has to carry me and walk quite swiftly out, and I got really self-conscious, and I was just kind of driving him nuts backstage. Just like, I don't know if you can carry me, and maybe we should just, you know, and like, oh, I'm really sorry. And like, I tried to have a light breakfast today, and he was like, oh my God. And then he just lifts me, you know, and he was like, you're fine. You're fine. And I was like, oh. But I love that man.
Oh my God, that was funny. I had a light breakfast today. That might be the quote for the episode. Also, in the latest episode, I did appreciate where, you know, for those that have seen it, it's near the very end where he surprises you. Strickland surprises Dr. Kabir, because you're like, okay, I'm in. Let's do it. And then he says, all right. And you're like, now?
Oh, that was ad-libs. That bit
was ad-libs.
Yeah. That was
okay. That was great. You do have a sense of humor. It feels real. And that was great. So I don't want to take it away from anyone else. Jag, go. And I'll get to the other comments that are flying in the chat room. We're going to go to Jag, then Michael, and of course, Marcia again. Thank you.
So I'm going to make this as quickly as possible, because I got to tell you, I've had a crush on Kabir from season 1, and basically, and of course you too. But basically, what I loved was the way you portrayed the addiction. That it was just something that where you were just tired and you decided to take a pill, and then we saw that evolve through the season to the point where it was affecting your work, affecting your friendships and stuff. And I love that somebody mentioned in the chat room Felix came to your aid to help you out and stuff, right? Or came to Kabir's aid. The real turning point for me and Kabir was when he lost his husband and you were there supporting Felix in his time of need. And talk about some real acting chops. I mean, you got me to the point where I was always starting to cheer up because it was just such a personal, deep moment between both characters. And you both pulled it off immensely well. So that's where my fascination and just love for the character came from, is that we knew you as a person, but as a character, you were one of the good guys, and you are the doctor. You personify helping others, and you will do no harm. So I thought that was really well done. So I'm going to get you. That was the cool part. Now I'm going to get you on something else. So here we go. So during season 1, I mean, when we saw the ending, we didn't know who was going to live or survive.
Yeah.
So being the investigator guy that I am, I go on social media and I see all the characters and they're doing this and they're doing that. And some of them post cryptic pictures and something like that. And I'm talking to my friends and I'm talking to Michael. I don't think Kabir made it. I don't think Kabir made it. He says, why? Because every single picture she's posting up there is that she's on vacation and she's over here, and she's over there. And I think she would at least show a camera, show something that at least let me know that she was going to live. You have no idea, girl. When I was watching episode 1 of season 2, how I was on the chair and I saw you, your character, underneath that big, whatever that was. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's died. And I was like, no. Right.
Yeah.
And there's Felix, trying to resuscitate her. You should work in marketing because you had me at the very last minute that Kabir did not make it to season 2 because of what you had posted. So I wanted to go ahead.
You know what's so funny is I'm really bad I'm always the one. I've gotten pulled up a couple of times because I think there was quite early, quite soon after we returned to Serbia for season 2. I think I put something on my stories, and then I just like a walk around Belgrade, and I had my coffee, and I just took this picture, and then I just kind of like location tag that I was in Belgrade, and then it's like, no, don't say you're in Serbia. I was like, oh, sorry. So I was like, delete. And then so that was otherwise I would just be all over the shop being like, guys. But so it's so funny that
you had me, and I think you had everybody. You did a great job.
Okay.
And I gotta commend you for how Kabir and how you did Kabir. She was funny as hell in that whole episode of the first episode, where I guess that's scripted. I don't know if that's some of us ad lib. Say, hey, but I guess it's not when they were trying to look at your injuries or the injuries of Kabir. He says, I guess it's not. Doesn't matter if I'm look at what you got to look at. I'm can't be shy now. That kind of funny. And then the whole adrenaline thing, that was hilarious. Not only just Kelly, but when they had to give you another one, you said no. The Kabir said no, because if you give me another one, there's a chance of heart attack. And they said, well, no, you got to go down and you just get it and you just shoot. That was amazing. The delivery of that was amazing. You just showed, Kabir showed another side that we hadn't seen that I thought was so just well done. And I couldn't wait. That's why I invited you. I said, I got to talk to you about this because you just did that so well. And so I told you there was going to be a little fanboying here when we were talking before. This is it. But I just want to let you know that you really, first of all, pulled off. You should, if you ever decide to leave acting, you can work in marketing, because we all thought Kabir. You should have heard me and Michael. I said, Michael, you didn't make it, Michael. What am I going to do?
Cried so much.
I cried. It was crazy. I was like, no, we can't lose Kabir. And so basically, I just want to let you know, and I wanted the opportunity for a year and a half to tell you this, that you are doing such an incredible job. I love where the writers are taking everything in season 2. For those of you that haven't watched most of the episodes, I'm going to keep it down in terms of the spoilers. But I just wanted the opportunity this long just to tell you that I really enjoyed it, and great job fooling everybody. Because I really, when I saw you down at that, at the bottom, and Felix is trying to resuscitate you, and you know what I love the best on the writing part? You're down, you just recovered, you look over, you see Kat, and you're wanting to try to help Kat, and you say, "Oh my God, Kat!" And I'm saying you, but your character, and that just showed the devotion from the character that even after being brought back from near death, the first thing she wants to do is help somebody else.
Yeah,
and
it's a really good
So congratulations on fooling everybody. If I had a medal, I'd give it to you because great job on fooling everybody. And you're doing it. I thought you could never surpass your performance in season 1, but I'm seeing so much more in season 2. And I just want to say, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it because the fans are appreciating it. And we all are rooting for the character, and of course you, and we're hoping for season 3 to see more from Dr. Kabir. So that's all I have for now.
That's
so I'll take it back to Roger.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
God, you guys got me up in my feels. I don't need therapy. I should just come on here more.
Yes, please.
You're welcome.
Well,
please.
Before I go to Michael, here you go. And if you had the feels for that, hold on, young lady. This is the one that's been on there for a little bit. I think you nailed it when you showed some past trauma in your life when Marge touched you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really well done. We're not actors. I apologize. We're not your peers, but as fans, it was well done. As a matter of fact, this is the one I showed earlier. We all thought that. We did. And then when episode 1 starts and you're wounded and injured, I was like, I did not tear up, but I was angry. I'm like, oh, come on. So I was really, really saddened. I thought you were going to, bite the bullet, so to say.
Yeah.
But Rick says, yes, you bring much humanity to the show. And I'm going to jump ahead of Sarah's because I'm going to get to that one in a moment. And Extertia, I was like, hell nah. She better wake her.
I was really with Felix. I was pumping with him, going, come on, wake up.
Pump harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Extertia, I think we were all on the same boat. Now, this was asked a moment ago. How did you feel about them killing off Kat? And I believe Dr. Kabir would be asked that question.
So it's interesting because the two characters, I mean, well, yeah, she was unofficially the other doctor, but they didn't have a huge amount of shared screen time. For me, it was more kind of personal because I adored Christina.
Yeah.
She is like, if it's at all possible, like if you just see how beautiful she is on the outside, she's even more beautiful on the inside. So it was for me more just the personal kind of sadness of seeing her go. She was a huge kind of part of the family, season 1, yeah. So and then it was also kind of like, I mean, I know I was supposed to be unconscious, but then I could kind of like, that was her death as well. So I was kind of like, I had my eyes closed, and then I was just like opening it like this. I was like, oh my gosh, because then when she's filming her, I was like, oh my gosh, she's, that was really. I mean, obviously we shoot out of sequence, but that was a very what's the word? It's quite a. It was a really sad kind of so then it made me so happy to have the kind of alternate reality, like the alternate reality episode, where we kind of I felt like we were able to give her both of them like the proper send-off and farewell that they deserved.
Yes.
Yeah. So but
wow. I didn't think about that. Thank you. she did get a proper send off in the 4th episode,
Yes, you did.
and with lasting effect in the universe of the arc. But
Yeah.
I want to get to Michael right now, and then we're gonna go back on to Marsha. And yes, I see a few more comments in the chat room. But yes, I'm sorry, Tertia, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
I agree. I'm not going to quote it again. It already hit. Michael, please.
Okay. I'm gonna tax your memory again, going back to season 1.
Mm-hmm.
For you, as an actor, what did you feel like your best episode was in season 1? Which one did you either enjoy the most filming, enjoyed acting in, or you just had a good time?
Well,
if it's in between 2, then just say the 2. Or say the scenes in those.
If it's all 12, say all 12.
I wasn't going to give her that out. Don't do that, Jag.
He likes her too much. He's going to give her the out. I just know.
That was very good, though.
I mean, like it was really fun at the beginning. We had quite a lot of kind of scenes with a lot of us on set, and I'm going back to season 1. That was just so much fun, because also it was just all of us getting to know each other. But I mean, if you have that many actors on set, it's going to get rowdy. And it was just, that was a lot of fun. And, we made one of the green rooms, we were having Mario Kart marathons, and just it was just, so that was really fun. The episode, for me personally as an actor, the episode that we had been discussing with, where Kabir has her breakdown after Strickland confronts her and says, I know you're using. For me, I was terrified when I first read that episode. And so it was one of those kind of milestone moments for me as an actor. And I have this incredible acting teacher, Lawrence O'Connor, and we work together a lot. And this was the first time, this is my first kind of big TV job. And I was like, I need you, Lawrence. So we were doing kind of a lot of one-on-one kind of coaching sessions over Zoom, working on scenes for hours. And we worked on that, the whole storyline, but that whole scene, and really kind of finding the deep, emotional truth of it. Because when you're on set, there's so much going on. There's kind of, people doing your hair, people adjusting the lighting, kind of makeup, costume. There's a multitude of people around you, and there's so much noise, and just trying to hold on to the truth in between. So for me personally, that day was really significant because I was completely terrified. And if I remember correctly, it was Milan Konjevic who directed that episode, and he's just he's a teddy bear. He's so sweet. He's just, we
had him on last week. I think we had him on last week on.
Oh yes, I saw. He's the loveliest, and he loves this genre so much. He deeply cares. And so it was a combination of him and Pavle was just I'm set, I'm good, I know I'm good. Yeah, so that was deeply and then also our last day shooting season 1 was the scene where I tell Bryce that he's cured. And they had to cut a lot of my close-ups because I could not stop crying. I was hysterically crying. And Jonathan Glasner was directing that episode, and it was a very, very emotional day on set. And we all wrapped and kind of were together, and we got ice cream for the crew, and it was just, that was a very kind of special day. But I remember all of us, we were just constantly crying.
Wow.
You Yeah, I was going to just say, you mentioned earlier how it's a family, and we've had the honor. Don't mean to step on you, Michael. I'll just make this quick.
You step on me all the time.
Okay, I'll step on you. We've had a lot of the cast and the crews. You just mentioned Milan and the others, and every single one of them has emitted or conveyed that family sense. And we immediately, as soon as you came back in the green room, we felt it as well, and we see it in your acting. So it has just been with every single person we've interviewed. It's that pillar of emotion, that pillar of caring, the pillar that we who are truly invested. And you just completely confirmed that with just what you just told us now and shared with us. So we can definitely say that, yeah, you're carrying on the torch. So, yeah. You're doing it. No Olympic reference, but
No.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, now I lost my whole chain of thought. But,
No.
but that he does that to me a lot. But
Yeah. I'm just excited.
I know you're excited. I've known that for almost
for a year and a half.
8-9 months. Yeah, it's like we have to get Dr. Kabir on. We have to get Dr. Kabir on.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, and I am so thrilled that we did get hooked up and you did come on, because we all have been wanting you to come on for a while.
Oh,
Yes.
But so let me go to a season 2 question, just so it's fresher in your mind. So far, up to 7, which has been your favorite scene to do so far in season? I said season 7, didn't I?
You did.
Okay, the other day I said someone, let's talk about season 5 of the arc. So that's the day I go season 7. Oh, I hope I'm correct.
Yes.
But in the first 7 episodes of season 2, what's been your favorite so far?
A favorite,
not necessarily of you being in, but just the circumstances or what has gone on the show.
Oh, so what,
as even a viewer.
As a viewer.
Yeah, as a viewer.
Yeah. As a viewer, and I wasn't in that episode particularly much, but the kind of like the alternate reality episode was so fun to watch. And it was just so satisfying to just see my castmates play. It was just, it's like an actor's dream, you know, and it was so beautiful because, you know, we kind of have a read through together. And I was just like, I can't, you know, when you're just like, I cannot wait to see this. So I, you know, and that was a long time of waiting, and I just couldn't even possibly like consider. Also, just technically how, and also because, you know, we had such a like an increase of increased capacity of like CGI this season, and just like with the electricity, and it was just to actually see that realized. But that episode was hugely fun for me to watch. I think that's one of my favorite episodes. Period. And yeah, and the electricity episode as well was really fun, as just like as a spectator to watch as well. I got my little notes here. Let me see what else.
You came prepared.
Have the notes been helping at all with our crazy questions? That's one of my questions.
Sorry?
Has your notes helped you with all of our crazy questions?
No, you've been actually it's been really, I always get so nervous, you know, but then, but you've made me feel very kind of, otherwise I would just be like this. But then also, hold on. Oh yeah, episode 6 as well with that was really fun as well, because that was with Lane's clone meeting Ian. That was my first time leaving Arc 1 and being kind of I mean, I wasn't in the fight. I did have some little kind of like ad-libbing in there. It didn't make the cut, but that was just so much fun to just be part of, see this whole fight go down. in the, what do you call it? The hull? The, what do you call it?
The
you know,
shuttle?
we're
The
holding-
shuttle.
The shuttle
Yeah,
hold?
yeah. Sorry, thank you, Marsha. I'm talking about the hull. But yeah, that was super fun, and just to kind of like have us going to another planet, and then it was kind of getting to play with green screen, which I don't get to do a whole lot, just because I'm so kind of like concentrated in the med bay. That was super fun. Yeah, so there's a lot of favorite episodes for me in season 2.
Great.
I want to go ahead and get to a few more comments. Susie had mentioned when we were talking about Kat, it's too bad they didn't write a bigger part for her. And but we know what she went on to, so I guess things happen for whatever reason, right? Sarah says, and this is going back, how much? Yes, I can't believe none of us have asked this.
No.
How much fun was the Comment Water episode with Kabir's mentor?
Oh, Dr. Hall.
Dr. Hall.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And again, it was one of those, when I read it on the page, I'm like, how on earth are we gonna do this? And it was fun because it was also like me starting to learn more about who she was. But yeah, and then it was also kind of getting to play with the humor of her, the kind of the bite of her, the kind of like the fieriness of her. Kind of, I think I got to kind of get a taste for that, particularly when shooting that episode. But that was I think it was also really satisfying to have a moment for her to kind of like openly say, this was not the plan, and I'm doing the best I can. And if you could actually get to speak to that person, it's so satisfying to actually be able to kind of have that dialogue. There's so many times I feel like if I could see that person one more time, I would say this, and that was really satisfying, even though it wasn't real.
Right.
Oh, well, it was real for us.
Really was.
Art 54, and I'll be with you in a moment, Marsha. If you could switch places with any character, who would it be? And before you even answer, at Art 54, great question. So, yeah, that is a good question. You could answer it 2 different ways.
That's so interesting. With any character on this show, I'm guessing. Otherwise, if you take it,
we'll go with that. Yeah.
I think Sharon Garnett. I don't think I could even remotely come anywhere close to doing it as well as Christy does. But also, I think it would be quite fun to kind of have a play with Evelyn Maddox to just get kind of like would just be fun, because I think that's like the ultimate challenge for an actor, is to play someone whose decisions are so you cannot even possibly begin to understand. Would be interesting. Also Kelly, but no, I'm way out of the age range. Also, I can't touch what Samantha does.
Oh, you're being humble.
But yeah, I think it's probably a tough. Let's say Evelyn Maddox, because that would be like really kind of like a really fun challenge, and we all want to play a villain. Just like, why not?
Yeah.
Who has cannons to fire?
I appreciate that. Now, we do have a few more questions, but I want to go on over to Marsha, if you would, please. And
Thank
folks,
you.
We are sorry, Marsha. We are really, really short on time right now.
Oh, don't worry. We can go a little over. Don't worry about it.
And I thank you for that. But you heard it a little bit. And are we going to consider time dilation and all that stuff?
Yes.
Folks, but thank you for that. Marcia, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Well, we're talking about characters, and I was looking at your resume, and you have a great breadth of characters that you played in the past, including Shakespeare. And I saw that you had played Olivia in Twelfth Night, and we've seen Shakespeare, studied it in school and whatnot, but it's so different approaching Shakespeare. How is the difference in approaching Shakespeare for you? How do you prepare for that kind of role?
So I haven't done Shakespeare I haven't done stage in a long time. I'm actually a theater baby. That's how my roots are in theater. That was also that was film. So it was kind of putting Shakespeare on screen is also a very unique challenge, because it's like such classical text on such a modern medium. To try and marry the two was, but I find I've always loved Shakespeare since I was a kid. Because there's such deeply human stories and emotions and deeply flawed characters. It's almost like their emotions are just like cut open, which is so beautiful about Shakespeare. It's just like sometimes people get so intimidated by the language, they're just like, I have no idea what they're saying. But yeah, so I think with that project in particular, it was really exciting what they were trying, because the whole point of that film was to make Shakespeare more accessible to more people, particularly to younger people who would be learning it in school and being like, I don't know what this dude is talking about. But to be like, actually, we all fall in love, and we all have experienced kind of heartbreak and love sickness, and kind of struggling, kind of stepping out from under the kind of weight of expectations put on us by our family or our community, or what it's like to be a young girl, what it's like to be a young boy. Like, those are all very relatable, very, very deeply human experiences. So that was a really, really fun shoot, actually. And I got to wear some fabulous clothes as well. So,
I actually read some of the comments that people put in reaction to your role in that piece. And one woman talked about watching it with her 17-year-old son, who was, she was watching it because he was studying it in school. And that portrayal helped him to do exactly that, to understand it in a more modern context. And so they were able to both to enjoy it together, mother and son. So I just wanted to give you that feedback that you really affected.
Oh, thanks, Marcia, because I had no idea. I had no idea. So that's really lovely to hear. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And to bring it back to the AHRC, there's so much science and technology and techie things that work and don't work. Do you have a couple of favorite things that are around the set that you like to play with? Because we kind of like the wrist thingy.
Oh, the wrist device. Yeah. So Lazo, our props master, bless him, he kind of is so, I mean, their attention to detail is kind of spectacular. And also, like, huge shout out to our Serbian crew and production team. They are incredible. But yeah, so he always kind of like goes to, like, kind of really takes me through kind of how to use everything, like, very precisely, and then I do completely the opposite. But I think when it comes, the surgery scenes are always very interesting, because obviously there's a lot that's done in post with CGI, so you have to kind of like use kind of creatively take that into account. and know that is there, even though you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then with a lot of the kind of the suturing and the kind of like the lasers, and just there's a lot of surgery scenes actually in this season, and just very, very high stakes. Those are always fun to do, and there's a lot of doctors in my family, and so I kind of like, it's I feel like now I can satisfy the Asian aunties, by saying like, at least I'm playing a doctor, even if I'm not an actual doctor. So, yeah.
Thank
Look,
you.
I'm doing surgery and didn't have to go to school or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like, look
And
at
saving.
these went for 6 years to like medical school, and I'm like, just doing it on the fly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger.
Marcia, did you have any other questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Michael.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Before I get back
Also,
to
sorry, I didn't mean to say that people are putzes for going to medical school. That's not like, you absolutely should.
Oh, no.
Respect to the doctors. So yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
That is right. Very good. That's very. You are. Oh, yeah. If I may, I want to go off a little bit. I'm going to ask Jag to ask the question that we ask every guest about the ARC numbers, but I'm going to wait for that in a moment.
Okay.
You studied, and I know all these words, but I don't know what the actual study is.
Uh-huh.
It says in your bio that you first studied social anthropology and violence. What is that? Or was it just two different courses?
They were two different. So I studied social anthropology with a kind of special focus on South Asian studies. And then I did, subsequently, I then did a master's on violence, conflict, and development. So social anthropology, I actually feel like, is very tied to what I do now, in the sense that it's a deep study of people and societies and cultures and communities, and the history of how that's evolved over time. And so I feel like, and then violence, conflict, and development, I think, is very much kind of, I think for me, rooted in coming from Sri Lanka, which is a country that had a 30-year-long civil war. And we are sadly, even though no longer at war, we're very far from peace. So I worked for a time for a human rights organization.
Yes.
So that was working on cases in human rights abuse cases in Sri Lanka and Indonesia, and that was looking at kind of police and state brutality cases. It was very deep, very intense. And the cases in Sri Lanka, it was also kind of like during that was also at a time, it was the end of the final stages of the war. So there were a lot of kind of human rights abuses specific to that as well, which I was working on. So, and then was like, maybe I'll just try and see if I can get into drama school, what? So, so that was quite a long way back. It felt like a long way back home, because this is what I've loved for the longest, but it took me a long time to get the courage to really go for it.
Well, I'm going to interrupt that thought. Milan just gave us a like right now on Facebook. So he is visiting. Milan, if you would comment right now. I'm sorry I put you on blast, but it's what I do. I'm not kidding. Right now, he just gave us the like. So Milan is watching the program. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
This is
who
about.
knows?
Hello, Milan.
maybe if he's in the chat room and if he would like to join us briefly,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But anyway,
Okay,
I do
let
want
me
to
send him
comment.
the link. Give me a
I
minute.
see that what you studied is what you're doing on the arc now. Okay, tangentially,
Mhm.
you are an activist and you care for people. I can see why Dr. Kabir almost comes naturally to you. So I'd have to ask,
Oh,
is
bless.
this art imitating life or life imitating art?
Who knows?
Who
Who knows?
knows, right?
Yeah.
That is excellent. Rick also says, I love your Dr. Kabir role.
Hmm.
And we've gone over a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But Jag, usually give me this one. I want to give it to you, pal.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
this is a fun question we've asked everyone. Sorry, Jag.
Oh,
no, real quick before we go to that question, I had just one thing that I just thought was funny on the writer's side or something. But you throughout season 1 had me looking away from the screen because you just handle those injectors just like no big deal. You're just taking out blood, you're injecting everybody, and I hate needles. And you're just like no big deal. The scene when they're about to bite Bryce's hand so they can inject the venom, you say, I can't look. Come on. What's up with that? You can look at blood, you can look at everything, and you can't see the spiders. I mean, just thought it was weird that the writers did that. I was like, oh, I can't have it. But I understand you're okay with spiders. It was just the character Kabir doesn't like spiders.
yeah.
Or,
I'm
do I
fine
have it
with.
reversed?
No. I'm fine with. I'm also like you. I'm not great with needles. And actually, poor Yelena, who played Stella Cogner.
Yes.
I think she was one of the first people I had to do the blood draw, and I literally left so many marks on her arm. She was so, because I was just doing it like I was literally, I think, trying to take her blood. That was really and that was not great. But so she bore that. Yeah, no, spiders I'm fine. If it was snakes, that's when
Yeah.
I'm leaving the spaceship.
Yeah. Snakes on the ark.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get to the fun question. So the
Mhm.
fun question is and I'm gonna ask it, then I'm gonna explain it.
Okay.
So as Kabir or as yourself,
Mhm.
if you were given an arc,
Oh.
what number would you like to have on it? And here's why we're asking.
Mhm.
So this came about when we had Mercedes de la Cruz, who was obviously Helena Trust. And
Mhm.
we were thinking she would probably pick Arc 86 because she liked to kill people, right? She'd take them on in the airlock and everything
Yeah.
else, right? Well, she came back and she said, no, 86 is good, but actually it would be Arc 1 because she's number 1 in the view of being Helena Trust. So with that context, what would Dr. Kabir or yourself, whichever you would like to choose, what arc number would you prefer if you had your own arc?
And
Ooh.
Milan answered the question, and we'll share
Yes.
that one among others. Yes.
Oh. I think mine would be 7, just because I think that's my kind of lucky number. Well, that's my significant number. And also my birthday is 7th of December, and just 7 seems to be a significant number for me somehow. It seems to keep coming up. So I think it would be, for luck's sake, it would be 7.
Michael, Jag, has anyone chosen 7 yet? And I think we have to
Yes.
create a worksheet. Oh, someone
No.
has?
Yep, Dominic Chichak.
Oh, Dominic. Oh my goodness, Dominic.
We'll have to fight it out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to duel it out.
I know where he lives. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is great.
He initially said 97. You can probably blame this one on me, but he's also a big Bond fan. So I said, oh, dude, you should probably get 007 for you. And that's how we ended up choosing the 7.
Oh,
so if you want to blame it on me. I'm the one that kind of
all right, he can have 97 as the original.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, you'll have 7. He can have 007. There
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a compromise.
Fine.
Yeah. That's cool. We like to kind of just get the stories behind the numbers that are chosen.
Yeah.
For example, JP Nickel chose 22 because that's his birthday, and that kind of thing. Jessica Yemi Naomi chose 53 because that's her lucky number. So it's just so cool to see the connections. And so we've started asking the guests if they can start, providing some insights, because I think it would be
Ryan's?
cool.
Was he 8?
His is 8 for the football player.
Yes, and then Christy, of course, she said it would be number 1.
Yes.
And then Milan, what an answer! I mean, they're all great, but this one was good. Milan said not the 8, but put 8 on its side for infinity.
Infinity.
That is so Milan. Okay, yes, yeah. That's okay. That's the best answer.
So what I'm doing is I've gotten the rendered of the arc, and then I'm able to pipe in what everybody's asking, like their numbers. So as we do these shows, I'll be posting on my Instagram, and I'll be sharing it with you and everybody else what we, like your number with,
cool.
on the arc.
That's so cool. That's great. This is a great question as well.
Yeah. We try to make that as a comfortable question towards the end, but we usually try to just kind of get a little further insight on the actor or the character.
Yeah.
Okay. So we love asking that question.
I'm gonna make you suffer for the last 2 questions.
Uh-oh.
You have a cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Do you have an iPhone or an Android?
Android.
Yay!
Whatever. Okay. Okay, you have an Android. Do you have music on your phone, or do you have a music service?
What do you mean music on my
like Spotify? Music that you listen to. Okay, you have Spotify. Okay, if we go to Spotify right now, what is the first song that we hear for you? What is your choice?
You mean like
that you listen to,
or me,
or you? Yes,
you.
And then it would be interesting to know what Dr. Kabir's music would be.
I have a whole Spotify playlist for her.
Really?
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is very deep.
Let me get it up. That's a big part of my prep. Actually, is I create a Spotify playlist for my character, and so I've got it here. Sanjivni's list. And there's like a whole range, but let me go through. So I've got Time Has Come Today. I've got the Chambers Brothers, Cat Stevens, Lizzo, some devotional gospel music, Little Nas X, MIA, Priya Ragu, John Mayer. Some film scores.
There you go.
Which ones?
Yeah, which ones?
So I have a few pieces from, Dope Sick. It was a Hulu with Michael Keaton. It was about the opioid crisis. It's brilliant. If you haven't seen it, I think it's on Disney Plus.
Okay, folks, we have our first prescription from Dr. Kabir.
So
ordered.
Take 2 Hulus and call me in the morning.
Elysium, which was on Gladiator.
Yes.
Fontella Bass. Got some.
Nice.
Hustle. I love my Nipsey Hussle. J. Cole, like whole mix. Train. Another score. This is TV as well. Is from Ozark.
Okay.
But the music is called Ben's Body. If you know Ozark, you'll know why.
Okay.
Amy Winehouse, Elton John, Stan Walker, Bryan Adams, Jose Gonzalez, Jay-Z, like a whole mix.
I have a whole variety of stuff.
Eclectic.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, though. And everyone, look, Rick, first one. Wow, nice music. It is eclectic, and it's from everywhere. That is absolutely awesome. And I know the theme from the one you mentioned, Elysium.
Yeah.
From the movie. Yeah, that's
beautiful.
That's really good stuff. Well,
we need to find out from her now what on your list. What about your list?
Oh,
yes.
So many playlists.
Very good, Marcia. I missed that.
I do. I'm in a real Afro beats phase at the moment. So I do love my Afro. I love all kinds of music. And I'm one of those annoying people. I'll get a song in my head and I will just play it. So for some reason today, I've been listening to block rocking beats by the Chemical Brothers just over and over again, which is like completely like random. But But yeah, I'm like an R&B and hip hop girl, but I do love everything except maybe heavy metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's absolutely awesome. Now I want to ask another personal question. Being that you've traveled the world, I'm sure that there's one or two items, or 50, right now, if you could have it food-wise, whether it be ice cream, a drink.
Look at the face.
Yeah, either from
Pizza.
Serbia or from home. What is it right now
that
that
you
wish
can't
you could
get
have?
right now.
I'm sorry, Michael?
That she can't get right now.
Right, that you can't. Yes, thank you.
That you want to get from where you've been in your travels.
Yeah, generally, you've been around the world. You've been to some places. If you could have right now, what would it be?
Okay, if I leave home food, like Sri Lankan food aside, because I'll just go on for ages. But
we can do that.
but I was shooting in Thailand recently, and kind of Thai food is, I mean, I had just unhealthy amounts of kind of mango sticky rice, Thai iced tea, which is condensed milk. We in Asia put condensed milk in everything. Just Thai food in general just was, oh my gosh. Then I love Turkish food. Turkey's one of my favorite places. There's a Turkish breakfast, it's called kahvaltı. They have like a drink. You got me talking about food. Better be prepared for another 45 minutes. And then, I mean, like I was in, Chicago recently. I mean, like American food is just, I mean, like it's dangerous.
Is this you or Dr. Kabir talking?
No, this is very much me. It's just, everything. And, Chicago, like the sandwiches with the gravy, like in the thing, and it's so good. And sorry, what was the question?
If you could have, and thank you for clarifying, Michael, if there is an item that you may not be able to have at the moment, what would it be? Yeah. No, you gave us quite a bit, but go on.
You gave us a lot.
Yeah.
No, that was great. Okay. Rick says varied and dangerous. And going back to the music, Susie said, you know what's also relaxing?
Reggae.
Yeah. Reggae. Now, switching gears again to the food, and finally, and I'm going to let it go after this. You've been to New York, I understand.
Yeah.
You've been to Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. In New York, it's called a slice of pie. Pizza. Are you for thin crust or are you for the Chicago deep dish?
The deep dish. I'm gonna have to stick with the thin crust. No disrespecting the deep dish, and love Chicago. Love Chicago. But I just can't get past, like, after two slices max, you're done. It's just so, it's just like, is it a pie? Is it a pizza? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, Chicago serves up insanely good food, but I am a thin crust girl.
All right.
Yeah.
That is cool, and that gives an additional insight. And if you've been asked this before online, I'm sorry. We don't want to repeat the questions either, but I think we're being a team player on that. It is absolutely wonderful. You've been so kind to us in giving your time, in allowing us, we are your fans, in being able to, to harass you, to accost you with all these questions. And you've been such a wonderful team player on it. I want to thank everyone in the chat room. I'm not saying exactly that we're done, but I don't want to make you suffer any more than you need to. No, you have been a team player.
So much fun. Honestly, I kind of, sometimes I'm hesitant because I get super, super nervous. But it's just, honestly, it just felt like I've been like chatting with friends. So thank you so much. And just thank you so much for all the love and support for the show and all of us. And, like, just even like, person to person, I've just felt so, like, kind of, I can really feel the love and just genuine support. And that means a lot to me. So thank you.
Wow.
You.
Yeah. I'm not going to even
Yeah.
bother to answer that other than to say that we are living our lives through you. There's no doubt about it. And we are eternally grateful again, not wanting to be pedantic, that you sacrifice your time to be with us. Here's when we were talking about the pizza, both are good and all in between, because yes, there are variations.
Yes.
Arc 54 says, girl. I know she didn't say it that way, but I did.
I did.
I can't thank you
Girl.
enough for doing this. We appreciate you taking the time with us. Yes. And Rick again says, thank you very much. And I don't want to dominate the thank yous. Oh, here we go. Susie says, we only show love here.
Yep.
Yeah. And I appreciate it, Tertia. The love,
The love.
is real.
Live.
Love.
Live.
That is so cool. And for everyone commenting and liking, folks, it means a great deal to us as well that you
Yes.
spend time.
It does.
And it's just absolutely awesome. So, quick goodbye from everyone. Michael, we'll do the announcements in a bit, but Michael, we're done.
We want make
say
the
goodbye?
announcements or just say bye-bye?
Yeah, you want to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Okay, all right.
Hold
Marcia,
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh no, thank you all. This has been so much fun. And yeah, I'm sorry it's taken so long, but
no sorries.
yeah, we could do part 2, part 3, part 4.
Yeah,
That was
we
what I was
want you
going to
back.
discuss later
We
with
want you back.
There it is. We didn't hear. I'd love to be back. No, she already committed to
Yeah.
3, 4,
So
5.
I don't
Even
even
if
have
no
to
one's
ask her the
there,
big
I'll
one,
be
Roger.
here.
Yeah, I'm kidding, of course. But
No,
we
but
would
I said
love
I don't have
you
to
back.
ask her the big question then, because
The
she just
big-
already committed
Oh, I'm
to it
so sorry,
without
Michael. No, you
me
asked.
even
Oh
asking.
my God, we blew it. Or I did.
Totally.
Michael, ask the question. Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't going to do this because we did it last year, and Ryan got
there's two
mad
questions
at
then.
us.
He did.
Ryan, what?
Ryan got mad at us.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
We were not planning to do something, and he goes, I want to do it again, because Ryan was the one that started it all last year
Yes.
to have a big finale and have a lot of actors on at the same time on our show. And we weren't planning on doing it because we'd already got some of the directors wanting to do it. So we go, okay, this year we're going to do the direct, and he got mad. And so since then we have asked if time permits and the scheduling permits, would you like to be on season 2's final cast craziness at the end after
I
the season
love
is over?
that. Yeah.
We
Oh my
had-
God, totally.
But see, you've really already committed, because you said 2, 3, and 4. You're going up to Christy level and Mercedes de la Cruz level when you go 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because both of them have been on like almost 4 times
Yeah.
with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can show up whenever you like.
That's right.
All
You
right.
don't need
You can
invite.
pop into another
Great.
person's interview.
Oh yeah. We were supposed to have someone pop in with yours, but they weren't sure if they could do it, so they didn't want to commit. So I don't want to say it on air who it was, but we
Oh.
did have someone that said they wanted to. So
Yes, and it's
Oh.
just a time issue sometimes. It's
Yeah.
Friday in the United States. It's a holiday weekend and stuff like that.
Mm.
But there's another question that I can't believe we didn't ask either. There's going to be a major convention, Electric Now, in October.
Electricon.
Electricon.
Yes, that's the name of the convention. Thank you. I'm going to flub it either way. So we understand you are shy, and we love that, and we appreciate that. But if you had an invite to a convention, would you wish to go and meet the fans?
Oh, I'd love that. I would. I would
Okay.
probably be like super, super nervous. But that would be that would be like I do hope actually that I get an opportunity to kind of like meet you all face to face, because that would just be and I'm in the States a lot, so I'll let y'all know.
All
But yeah,
right.
that would be really fun. Yeah.
Great.
That is absolutely awesome to know. We'll see. We do a Sunday night program here, which is around 2 a.m. for you. So, but the invite is there. We review. Right. But
Yeah.
I had to throw that one in there.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, I think we did most of the questions. We do a lot of stuff here, and now I'm going to use this. Is there anything that we didn't ask that we missed, or you would like to share with us that maybe we just didn't do our research on?
Well, I actually, it would just be interesting to get more like your thoughts on.
Oh wow.
I think just I'm gonna flip it.
Oh,
Yeah.
real.
Oh wow.
Boy.
Got it.
Now we're nervous.
You're flipping it. Wow. Uh-oh.
Well, no, I think because there's I think quite a lot of discussion, more discussion in season 2 about just like the ethics of like genetic and human augmentation, and that's something that's quite, I think, I think that's it feels like it's very far away, but it's not really. If you look at the conversations that we're having now about like artificial intelligence, we're entering like a new age of tech and what it is capable of, and it's only a matter of time, I think, before that meets us. But yeah, it was just interesting to know. It would be interesting to hear what you all have felt and thought, kind of watching some of these storylines play out with Kelly, and then finding out what Ian shares about like the I can say things. I can say storylines.
Well,
through episode
up
7.
to 7.
Up to 7.
We don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah. But when you talk about when Ian talks about clones being used for organ harvesting,
yes,
senior members, just if that's if you all had any kind of thoughts or feelings, or if that's something that doesn't kind of, with everything else going on, if it's hard to kind of pinpoint that.
No. So let me be the first to answer before we continue. Whoever's not watching After the Arc needs to watch that show. I keep saying it all the time, but you get just so much insight. They had the same discussion you're bringing up, which is why I feel confident. So we saw a lot of little I guess, sub stories that we can relate to what was going on in there. For example, Gen 3. We're talking about those particular individuals that, do they have rights? Do they not have rights? That kind of thing. We are now talking about how a particular individual was able to control another to do something dangerous. And, and to the point of, does that person have the autonomy to allow themselves to and learn how to basically control themselves? And we may have seen something like that in episode 7, where there may be a breakthrough in that. So it's very interesting, the storylines that we're seeing and the subplots that we're seeing that are basically leading down what you just said, artificial intelligence. We're talking about, the different, how we treat others, how we use others, how we misuse others. And that is just something that, if you're not paying attention, you're just watching the show for what it is, that's fine. That's great. It's great entertainment. But if you really get deep, it's just, you can unravel all the stuff that the writers are doing this year. And it's just so amazing, because it does do what sci-fi normally does, which is bring to light what we are currently facing in a way that's more appealing and perhaps entertaining. I know that sounds weird, but in a way that you see it as not only entertainment, but perhaps 44 minutes of enlightenment. That's the way I see it.
No, that's amazing. Yeah.
You're on mute, Barter.
You're on mute, Roger.
Sorry. Thank you, Jag. I appreciate that. I have dogs barking over on the other side of the alley.
Oh, okay.
The dogs are back.
I love dogs.
Yeah, these little dogs bark in inopportune moments, and there are my neighbor's dog on the other side of the alley. Again, everything Jag said, yes. I didn't think about this. I was looking at it, and the whole idea with Kelly, I thought it was more of an allegory about what the military has done to people, and I'm talking about many nations, on how they can train them to do things, to basically become a weapon. So I hadn't really given it thought, and I thank you for that. That is a very deep question. I'm gonna have to really give it some thought. But I was labeling it, for lack of a better word. So I'm gonna have to give that some thought. If that's a get past jail card, I'm gonna take it right now. But Michael and Marcia, did you guys have some comments on that?
Well, I was just going to say, what resonated with me is I was looking for my birth father, and so the genetics kind of stuff kind of came to me because I went through it at the beginning of COVID. I had time, and I decided, I'd do a DNA test and see if I could find anybody. And it was a rough journey, and the last time I had, even thought about genetics, I had this little course in 8th grade that they talked about. They had just started basic stuff. And, I remembered what I had learned, and it was like nothing like what they've got now.
Yeah.
And what they can do now is incredible. So imagine in 100 years what they could do.
Yeah.
But long story short, people didn't see the original thing that Roger and I did when I found out. I did find my birth father. However, he had passed away.
I'm so sorry.
But I still had 3 half siblings from him. So I've met all of them now. So that was really cool. But, it was like I got closure. And so I can see how they might, it might be good for Lane. He had all this shock, but one way or the other, he's going to learn about himself, that things that he didn't even know. And I did too. When I met I'd already met my half siblings from my birth mom's side. So that'd been years ago. That'd been 30 years earlier. So, but meeting the other side, it was amazing to see what I got from one side, what I got from another, and just how that all meshed. So I can see with who we're going to have on tomorrow, Mr. Trust. What his project and stuff was, for diversity. So I mean, I got all that. So that's one thing that I kind of understood, and it was kind of cool, to see that. That's my take on some of it. But some of like what Roger was saying, some of that I have to think about that for a while.
No, fair enough. Yeah,
some of that too. But it's we were told by certain people named Dean Devlin and Jonathan Glassner that there was lots going on in this season. And they came on before the show had even started in season 2.
Yeah,
and they just kind of said things are going to be really, really crazy.
Yeah.
Forgive me, folks. This is almost becoming an Ancestry.com episode.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to share before I go to Marcia. Rick, wow. I found out who my 2 grandparents were over the last couple of years via DNA. Michael did a program on with us because he is adopted, and he shared with us. I shared that I was looking for my half-sister. And when Mercedes was on with us, she shared with us as well an incredible amount of information. And we all made a connection. And when we had that cast, when we had 8 of the actors on, the performers, I had just gotten the word almost the day before that I found my half-sister that I've been looking for 22, 23 years. Wow. And because of the tiny connection that we had, I told Mercedes on air, and it was just to her. I said, oh, and by the way, Mercedes, I found her. And the way she reacted was so real and genuine, because we had she's been on 4 times with us. She probably has about 10 hours on with us.
Wow.
It is unreal.
That's
Not that we're challenging or drawing a line. It's amazing. And now with all the information that we're talking about, the cloning, and that Rick also sharing, it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the DNA aspect, because I searched for her for 23 years.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the connections that we have. Is this art imitating life, or life imitating art again?
Exactly.
Wow.
Thank you all for sharing that. That's really wow.
Marcia, did you want to get in on that one?
That's I thank you for that question, because one of the things that kind of smacked me in the face when we were looking at the controlling Kelly and the whole growing people for other people's purposes.
Yeah.
Made me think of a new advanced form of slavery.
Yeah.
Is where you're treating people as non-human, as things, as property, and it's a scary thing that you're talking about in the series, and I'm very interested to see how that works out. I liked when Garnett said, "Well, they're people. They're people too," and even though I felt the danger of the Gen 3, well, her compassion came through.
Yes.
And I have a dilemma. Yes, they're people, but where do we go with this? But yeah, the slavery aspect is really something that struck me.
That's a very powerful connection. And also you kind of have to see someone as less than to be able to do that to someone. You have to completely dehumanize them. And that's something that, I mean, yeah,
It's
that
scary.
that was an entire system, what slavery was. So, I mean, yeah, that's a very powerful connection.
And then Kabir said in season 1, every single person matters in one of her, and that was the title of one of the episodes. So the other thing I also just wanted to bring up, we also see a little of the pain that Kabir is going through with the abusive and how she's seeking out help so that she can get control, or at least get back to that confidence of being from that abusive relationship. And now she's funneling that you with a constructive way of fighting back without actually hurting anybody.
Yes.
And I think that the show is doing such an incredible job of just giving us some rich storylines this year or this season that we can then not just watch it as a show that just, like I said before, just entertains, but it educates.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And I love that Kabir was punching the heck out of that punching bag.
He was mad.
I thought she was going to burst it open. So good for her.
That was another one of my, that was another milestone moment for me.
So did you really hit that bag? Did you really?
Yeah, for sure.
It seemed like it. Wow. You know, answering that Jag, it's very difficult to have anything else to say, but I would, unless you want to stay on with us, I would seriously, realistically, I know we've taken a lot of time and I know it's late for you. Have you had your dinner yet? I know we're being rude.
Yes,
no, right?
I
you
have.
did. You should have said no. I have to go and have.
I'm probably gonna have a little snack.
But, then there it is.
Dinner.
I have to say, and maybe leave this on a good note or a funny note. I had commented in one of our review programs. You know, Lane is a clone, and he was looking for his number at the bottom of his foot, but there's a scar there. So I had joked online, and this is where we need you. Are there any outtakes that someone put like a little tag or used? Okay, have you seen Toy Story?
Yeah.
Okay. Did anyone put Andy on the bottom of Lane's foot?
Oh, that's such a good. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is there anything on there? Did someone
need to do that?
Opportunity.
Somebody needs to do that.
Opportunity.
If you have that chance, you could maybe next year say, "Hey, dude, I heard a rumor."
Season 3.
There you go.
There you go. And I was just throwing it out there. Obviously, it's not, because that was a very serious and very intimate moment.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to take it away, but I did wonder aloud. I said, did someone mess with him and put Andy, in between shots?
Yeah.
Toy Story was an emotional. That was the whole. Yeah, it was. That was like had me all up in my feels. Yeah, that's maybe season 3. I can see what we can do there.
There you go.
Hey, maybe you might be one to set something up.
Andy.
That's cool. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. Look, we have gone way over. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to share with us, but I do want to thank you. And look, great stories, everyone. Appreciate the sharing. Yeah, and look, everything that you guys shared with us. Also, clone tech that maintains a responsibility to help people seems key. And I believe I did get to everyone's. Oh, here it is. And Rick says again, thank you for spending this wonderful time with us.
Yeah.
You have absolutely blown us away, and
Thank you. Yeah.
It
was worth the wait.
Yes.
Oh, bless you. Thank you all so much.
And this is not an insult. Mm-hmm. You're not acting. The person that we see on TV is you.
Yeah. It comes through. It comes through. And before I forget, happy birthday, Mom.
Oh yes, happy birthday, Mom. Oh yes,
happy birthday.
Is she watching?
No, she's not. She'll watch later.
Okay.
She'll give me the critique. Oh no, you shouldn't have asked that question. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done that. You know?
Yeah, she's gonna ride me for having the beard.
Yeah, but she's gonna adore you. I already know she's gonna adore you.
Well, happy birthday, Mom. That's
thanks.
So
yeah.
Yes, all kidding aside. Feliz cumpleaños, Clementina. Gracias.
Thanks.
And to everyone else that's watching and didn't comment, we want to thank you all. We appreciate it. And I'm going to see if we're going to set something up moving forward where if you're not going to be here, maybe you could send us your questions in advance. Yeah. And one way, because everyone's going to watch this, when we set up the episodes on YouTube, you can always leave the comment in advance. Same thing on Facebook. So keep that in mind to the audience. And that way we could be, well, not that we needed more, but for next time, if I know that you have a massive fan. Oh, I'm not going to mention him. I'm going to get in trouble. But Nathan is in Perth, Australia.
Oh, yes.
And he does all these wonderful images. And I'm surprised he's not here. So something's up.
Well, I think it's because we have two going on, and he didn't.
It's usually at 3 a.m. his time, and he's been here for almost everyone. So I know something's up because he was on holiday in Vietnam one time.
I think he's on vacation now.
Yeah, so he might be traveling. Otherwise, he would have been here.
Oh yeah.
Oh bless. Oh, Nathan's super cool.
But there are many others, and if we get any other comments, I think Michael will be able to pass them forward onto you, or Jag, whichever.
Yes, I'd love to read them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's great. So awesome. On behalf of Marsha, on behalf of Michael, on behalf of Jag, everyone in the chat room, I'm the lucky one that gets to say thank you. It was a blast, and I can't wait to see what you do both on the Ark, everywhere else, to hear about your activism, because an activist never dies. They just go into hibernation for a little while to do stuff.
I like that. I like
that. We do. It is what it is, and it was great to hear about that. Maybe next time we can talk about some of the stuff you actually did on the Human Rights Council, even though you did tell us.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's more. So that's it, folks. Anything else? No, I think that's it. All right, Michael, I'm going to take this one from you. Head on over to ndbmedia.net. Check what is on. We have another interview today. Michael, who is it?
Yeah, tonight it's India Sage Wilson, one of the writers of the Ark. She wrote episode 5, and she will be talking about episode 5 this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and it's 2 a.m. in the UK if you'd like to join us.
I'll watch the replay.
There you go.
And you know what? Thank you.
Be honest, right?
We love it.
Exactly.
So then we will have a shout out for you on the episode. But
and tomorrow,
Paul
Leonard Murray, he'll be on at 2 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. in the UK, and 8 p.m. in Serbia.
All right, folks.
Exciting.
There it is. And maybe next time we can ask about your Juno connections, and who knows about there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot.
But we want to respect your time because you're giving us, and
you've already taken 3 more.
Yeah, there's actually a lot more. That's right.
That's true. Yeah.
So I guess we're good for now. We're going to end up, folks. Thank you again. Like, subscribe, follow. Don't forget to follow her on Instagram as well, as you see it right there at the bottom of the page. If you found her through us, let her know you're following because you saw her on this program. It helps us a tiny bit to let our guests know. So we're good. That's it. We're done. And young lady, last words. We're out.
Oh, thank you all. This has been a real treat. Thank you so much. And
You're
just
welcome.
big love. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.